Welcome back. This is Salam Media. We're coming to you live from our headquarters in Johannesburg. It is now 25 minutes after 9 p.m. and time for the Tech Talk segment. To all of our viewers and listeners who have just tuned in via the various platforms, whether it is Facebook, on YouTube as well, Salam Media, to those who are tuning in and streaming in via audio stream, and those in Durban on 90.6 FM, respectively, in Pietermaritzburg. Good evening to you, and wherever you are driving, be safe. Now, time for the Tech Talk segment, and we talk to my Broadband senior journalist tonight, Jan Vermullen. We're talking about smart televisions, and is your smart TV able to spy on you? Maybe you've got some thoughts, regarding that. And yes, there are many peripheral devices who have got cameras like your webcams, your phones, which can easily be hacked. And yes, they are. But we are going to talk a bit about all of these things in depth this evening with Jan Vermullen. Now, ever since televisions have turned smart and started shipping with inbuilt internet access, they've adopted features and apps that were once reserved for gaming consoles, media hubs, and PCs. Now, you can use a smart TV as a sole media streaming device, as most support dedicated entertainment programs such as Apple and Amazon, etc., offer. But just because your TV can connect to the internet doesn't mean that it has to. In fact, you may find that removing it from the network is a safer option. To talk to us a bit more about all of this, whether it is myth or fact, we speak to Jan Vermullen. Good evening, Jan. Welcome once again to Friday Night with me, ST.
It's a huge pleasure. Thank you very much for the chance to speak.
Awesome stuff. Great to have you with us. Right. Now, many people obviously changed from their old TV boxes to flat screen TVs around 2010. We were moving from analog to digital. That was a phase. 2020, we in the fourth IR, etc. This is a phase as well. In between, there was the creation and innovation and invention regarding smart television. Smartphones have so diversified the platform, allowing us to have such cameras with such high quality. So it, alleviates the need for a camera as per se. However, when it comes to smart televisions and the ability of it, and the capability rather of it to spy on us as such, I think we had an interview where some Xbox consoles were actually hacked into, and for quality assurance purposes, people's chats were listened to and recorded. All of these things have happened. Could the same thing have happened with our television? I mean, here we are on camera right now. Here we may be watching the Man United vs Tottenham game or whoever, and munching on our popcorn or drinks. Could you be watched and viewed by maybe these manufacturers or some hackers? Could anonymously hack into your TV streaming session, as per se?
Yes, so good questions all. And honestly, the thing around smart TVs is really a symptom of a much larger issue. And smart TVs, it's only one aspect of a whole host of devices that weren't connected to the internet before, now getting connected to the internet without due regard being given to security. And so smart TVs is one, but I mean, if you buy high end, then you're getting internet connected fridges and stoves and washing machines and all kinds of appliances, kettles, who knows what else, getting connected to the internet, that one might argue have no real business being connected to the internet. Now, there's this whole vision of a connected lifestyle in future, so that you'd be able to, for example, you're out and about, and you think you're going to stop by the shops on your way home from work, and you don't know what's in the fridge. So you quickly climb into the app, and now there's a camera pointing into your fridge so that you can see what's in the fridge. And that then gets even smarter, where there's an AI engine built into the fridge to say, oh, we'll detect, the items that are in your fridge. And when you've run out of milk, we'll just order it for you. And the milk will arrive on its own because, as long as you supply the necessary details, the shop that you want to shop from and the your credit card details and all that stuff, then it'll just do the ordering for you. So there's this whole vision of a connected lifestyle, but a very important layer, like right above. So if you imagine the kind of systems that have to be built to make this work as a cake, so you've got your bottom crust layer. That's like connectivity. You have to be able to connect the stuff to the internet. But the layer just above that, we're ignoring. We're ignoring like the very like a foundational thing, and that's security. And so smart TVs is just one symptom of that. And so there's definitely exploits been documented in smart TVs. There's no known hack that I know of where hackers have remotely taken control of your smart TV's cameras, and there's certainly no reports of the manufacturers themselves spying on people. Like webcams and stuff. The webcam I'm using right now, it's got a little light, and cameras in general have little lights that come on when the camera becomes active. And so
the red light to say, okay, it's active or recording, whatever the case.
So definitely there have been reports of the CIA having found hacks for devices with integrated webcams. It was laptops initially, where they would load some kind of malware onto the machine, and then they're able to slave the webcam without the light coming on. And so there are hacks like that that are documented, and Edward Snowden helped to expose those kinds of capabilities that governments have, in particular that the US government had. And so it's not too far-fetched to think that a similar hack could happen on a smart TV, but like the kind of vulnerabilities that I've seen around smart TVs, it's either like you have to have physical access to the smart TV to load the malware on. So you have to be able to plug something into the USB port to actually. So the spies have to first come into your house. So this isn't something that just some random hacker is going to do.
Right. There's a lot of myth surrounding this type of thing. So take us through exactly what scenarios are possible, a potential scenario.
So let's talk about rather than what you don't have to worry about, which is the camera being remotely activated and spying on you. Let's talk about what you should worry about. And you touched on it with the Xbox voice activation stuff, but it's not just Xbox. Anything with a voice activated thing. So like Android and iPhone all have voice assistants now. And if you've got a smart speaker in your house, like an Amazon Alexa or a Google Home or a new Apple device with Siri that's always on, like an Apple TV or something like that, those are set to always listen. And the reason is quite simple. If people are listening out loud, turn off your smart speakers now, because the reason that they're always listening is they will need to listen for the trigger word. So they need to listen for Alexa, play, Smash Mouth All-Star, or okay, Google, search for Jan Vermullen, my broadband. You're all very welcome. That's the reason they're always listening, but that comes with a drawback. You're effectively installing a surveillance device into your house voluntarily. And then, sometimes they mistrigger and they upload stuff to the Google Cloud or to the Amazon Cloud or to the Apple Cloud without you knowing about it. Google has systems in place now to let you kind of listen or find out what exactly you've uploaded. But there's a pending court case about this now. Google is in very hot water about this. But all I'm trying to say is it's not unique to smart TVs. Anything with a voice recognition feature built into it that is not running on the computing device itself. So unless you've got some sort of dictation software on your laptop, which is specifically designed for voice recognition and runs only on your laptop or computer, desktop computer, it doesn't first run back to the internet to do the translations. You're in a situation where you've you voluntarily agreed to having your voice recorded and sent to a server somewhere for voice recognition, and then the server sending back commands to the device. That's what you've signed up for. And so if you don't want that, you need to disable voice recognition. And so that is an actual legitimate privacy concern that people have. And it's a privacy concern that I think people should be aware of. And so, yeah, if you've got smart speakers and stuff throughout your house, just, think about what exactly is happening. And that's that they're always recording, and they'll accidentally trigger all the time, and they're uploading whatever you're saying when they're accidentally triggering to a cloud somewhere. And it also, it doesn't take a lot for them to not be accidentally triggered, right? These devices are silently updated over the internet. And so, one day, if these companies are no longer, just kind of interested in selling, targeting ads better at you, if they turn to more malicious ends, then a silent update can just make it so that the microphone's always on. Why not? So these are things that we definitely need to think about as we move into a society where, we want this convenience. We want, this connected AI enhanced lifestyle. But
yes,
first we need to ask, what about the security? And then we need to ask, but what about our privacy, and how can we make sure that our privacy is safeguarded? And perhaps the only way to safeguard your privacy there is with a little bit of technical skill, is to physically monitor that device. And so you have a separate device on your network that's monitoring what's coming from all these smart voice connected webcam equipped devices. And if they're doing anything shady, then you get an alert to say, hey, I'm your home security appliance, and I've detected that this kind of these devices on your network are misbehaving. This is the kind of thing that I think we really need. But who's going to pay for that, right? It's security on a good day is a grudge purchase. So not trying to convince people to buy a whole separate appliance to monitor their existing.
I was just going to ask, regarding a potential solution you're mentioning, physically monitoring, what could we be doing? But coming with it are so many costs. So basically, let's say somebody's tuned in watching, and there are lots of viewers and comments. We entertain, and we obviously welcome one and all. Regarding these type of insecurities, maybe the TV is connected to the internet now, should people disconnect from the TVs? Some people leave the television on throughout the night for downloading, whatever the case may be, or for various other reasons. And we've touched on some of the security risks regarding nefarious activity, etc. But also, another interesting question is Android phones an issue, and Android platforms and the OS, or who are more susceptible to these type of actions of
and so when it comes to smart TVs, it's all of them are potentially vulnerable, because we started seeing this problem with smartphones. And it's getting better now. But if you're on a reasonably modern smartphone, then you can be sort of assured of getting security updates on a reasonable schedule. If you have an older smartphone, and it doesn't have to be that old, it can be 5 years old maybe, or 3, 4, let's call it 4 or 5 years old, they stop getting updates, right? And so the same thing happens with TVs. Now, people buy TVs, and we don't replace them every 2 years like we do phones. And even then, even if you're replacing a phone every 2 years, that's quite a privilege. People buy TVs and keep them for 10, 15 years. That's the idea, right? I'm sure the TV manufacturers would love us to replace them at the same cadence as we replace our phones.
Yes.
But that's just not going to happen. People don't do that. Like real people in the real world, you buy a TV and you keep it for many, many years. And the thing about a smart connected TV is if the manufacturer is not actively supporting it anymore, then you are going to run into a situation where there might be bugs that get detected and just never patched. And so, yeah, that's the one big risk, is eventually, people, manufacturers, when a TV gets too old, they're just gonna, or a TV, a platform, an old software platform that they ran on TVs, like if they do it often, where they switch to a new version or they switch to a new platform, and then they just don't support the old one. And so, yeah, there does come a time where, when that support ends, where you have to make a tough call, where you say, am I going to disconnect my TV from the network to avoid this issue? And so, that to my mind, people have a choice. You either try to sort of monitor security news as closely as possible, so that if a security problem is detected on your TV, that you can then disconnect it and say, okay, this TV is now insecure, I'm disconnecting it, and now it's just a dumb TV. Or you disconnect it now, I guess, as a preemptive measure.
Okay.
I mean, there's no reason. I don't want to spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt unnecessarily.
Right.
There are security concerns around these devices, specifically getting into the network, but the attacks that we've seen to date are very sophisticated. These are not the kind of attacks where, an average hacker, or I say average hacker, where a hacker has an incentive to try to break into a large chunk of TVs to get into networks. There's no financial incentive to do that, right? So right now it's more of a curiosity, and it's more of a let's see if I can do it kind of hack. This is not a hack that's being exploited for financial gain, like the hacks on PCs that are particularly damaging, right? So there's no reason to run for the hills just yet. All I'm trying to say is that this is something that is not really being thought about, and people do need to think about it. But yeah, I mean, like, the fact is, it's highly unlikely that if you've got a webcam on your TV, you can do the same as what security conscious people do with their laptops. Is you just stick like masking tape or even insulation tape just over the camera when you're not using it. When you are using it, you take it off. I mean, it's a very simple solution.
Something so easy, yeah.
Yeah, and other than that, I don't think. But even though I say that, I don't think you have much to worry about at this stage. There's no mass exploit that I've seen in the market. Of far greater concern are these cheap CCTV systems and nanny cam systems that are exposed, that you connect to the internet and are just exposed to the internet. I've seen articles and reports on those where hackers or people that are, that you don't even have to be a hacker, you like just people who are interested, who know what to search for, can just get into your internet connected webcam if you're not careful, if you don't know what you're doing, or if you get just a bad brand. And so that would be, for me, a far greater concern than a smart TV.
Jan, you've highlighted so many different talking points and made us much more aware in that regard. Once again, we thank you for your time, Jan, but unfortunately, that's all we have time for to discuss. Time does not allow us to continue in that regard. But until we have another informative chat, regarding this and many other talking points, we always appreciate your feedback and hosting you. It's always a pleasure. Jan Vermullen, thank you for your time. Have a safe and warm weekend. Take care.
Yes, thank you very much. You too. And thank you for having me. Have a great show.
You too, man. Cheers. Bye-bye. That's my Broadband senior journalist talking to us there, giving us his talking points regarding your smart television. Is possible where your smart television can be hacked, and could it be such that people can be spying on you and listening to you in the background? Well, there you have it. Yeah, that's what we had to talk about in the Tech Talk segment. Anyway, having said that, it's now 45 minutes after 9 p.m. Coming up is a relatively new segment. We are going to be chatting to a well-renowned comedian by the name of Carvin Golston, all the way from Durban, and that is coming up next. Keep it locked to Salam Media. It's 9:45.